Atlanta United Fan TV, 1-0 loss again for the third straight match, and Atlanta United are out of the MLS's back tournament. Really disheartening to see, but was the performance at least better for you in this match?
It improved in the second half. That's like as complimentary as I can be, I think, about it. It was cool to see Gallagher on as well. I'm glad he got some playing time.
In a really unorthodox position.
Yeah, exactly, right. Because it seemed like maybe playing like center back, but then he would also get forward. I mean, that was cool. It would have been nice to see some of that. I guess you could say creativity or just thinking outside of the box. It would have been nice to see that earlier in this tournament. But I guess that's it is what it is at this point. Yeah, it's the losses are one thing, but I was from day one I was pretty consistent that the most important thing that I would take out of this tournament experience are the performances, and they just weren't good. Like the team looked so drab. The team looked bereft of ideas. I thought the way he used Adam John was a little odd. At times like showing faith in him, but then it seemed like he also had the quick hook. And it's just like, like I think the thing about John is like even when he played against sort of Nashville and Cincinnati, it's like you can tell, what his strengths and weaknesses are. You know what you're getting with John. It's just a matter of playing to his strengths or just having the team set up in a way that it makes sense. And I just don't think we saw that, So it just, it's Atlanta United has never looked so drab. I think that we can all agree on that. So I guess the question now is really, who's at fault?
Right, and that is a very, very big question here. Obviously, there has been a lot of turnover, a lot of big kind of influential players within the locker room, within the starting 11 that have left. And, anytime you are missing the likes of Jose Martinez due to injury, Jonathan Nagbe due to him wanting to play in Ohio, LGP, Gressel, even, to a lesser degree, maybe Miram and others, kind of the fabric of the team definitely changes. And then you have all new guys. There definitely is always an acclimation period when you bring in a lot of different players, and you don't really have a ton of time to really implement them into a fairly complicated system, probably, most would say, within FTV and what he wants, probably, and how to play. So who do you, displace the blame on here, or just place the blame on, rather? Like, who is at fault for these performances?
At this point in the Frank DeBoer tenure, I'm just still not completely sure on what it is his teams are set up to do. It seemed like to the end of last year in the postseason, it started looking like, a coherent unit. And, they defended pretty decently, even without Miles, and the attack was okay. But it seemed like it was going in the right direction at least. But, okay, yes, obviously you lose Joseph. You don't have Nagbe. But the thing is, too, like, with the roster turnover, there were players that were brought in, like Mesa, Lennon, Josetu, Castro. And then, of course, for me, I think my biggest point of contention is you have two of the biggest signings in MLS history who, at this point, haven't really looked like it. I think with whose name? Barco. I think with Barco, certainly, I think he's been a little bit unlucky, and we've seen that, the talent that he could potentially be with us in flashes, and then with Argentina U20. But then you look at a player like PD Martinez, like he obviously was good in South America. You don't come with those accolades without it. And so it's like, I still feel like the board's still trying to figure out the best way to use those guys, the best positions to use those guys in, because it doesn't seem like it's ever consistent. And like in terms of the other players, like your Lennon and Mesa and Josetu and so on, like they looked fine. But I just get the feeling that under a different style, under another manager, they could possibly look better.
Yeah. I mean, is it also possibly that they're being asked to do too much, Barco and PT without a Jose Martinez, and so basically the pressure goes onto them, the onus goes onto them, is frankly, like, are all the players being asked to do too much? Are they, basically being played in a system that's just way too complicated for them, when maybe, because these players clearly have some talent. Most of them, I think belong at the level of Atlanta United, but it's just a matter of if they can all kind of make the pieces fit. And so far, it definitely doesn't look like it.
That's what I think it is for me. It's just making the pieces. Well, not just, obviously that's not a simple task,
right?
But it is about making the pieces fit, And in terms of responsibility, I think it's natural to lean on your two designated players, the two that are left, And I really think if you look at the talent on this roster, I think it's okay to expect more than we've seen. Certainly, for example, like a result versus Cincinnati, that was just awful. Like nothing good to take away from that match whatsoever. But yeah, it really doesn't feel like the board's getting the best out of these players. So maybe it is a system thing. Maybe it is a thing where it's just there's so much change. One of the points I would make about De Boer last year too. One of the changes, the big change that he made in his first season was really kind of reverting back to what Tata did a little bit, playing players where they're comfortable and so on, right? Then it seems like the front office did some of the moves that De Boer wanted. So if they didn't, if there were players that De Boer wanted, or if he wanted different type of different profile players than he got, then fair enough. But it doesn't really seem like that. And also another point I would make that I've been thinking about as well, going back to the coaching search, right? They definitely seemed like they wanted to keep Tata for another year, and Tata kind of sort of thought about it, but then said after 2 years, no, I'm going to go and so on. So I just wonder if that coaching search really played out the way Atlanta United wanted it to. Did they get the man that they thought was the best fit for this team, or was it just that he's experienced and a big name, and you thought that he'd be able to figure it out? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it certainly is a big question, and all of the Atlanta United fan base is surely maybe second guessing, at least thinking about if this is the right call. But so far, with the results in MLS's back tournament, a lot of people are reeling and hurting at the very least, and so it's definitely we will have to figure it out very, very quickly, hopefully.
I just want to say one thing, just before we go. Like, it's not that the players don't have responsibility. They do, and they know how to play the game, right? Obviously, but when so many players are looking below their best, I'm thinking of even Franco Escobar, or Rometty hardly is getting used, and for some reason he's not preferred by De Boer. It's just that's when it's like, okay, what's going on here where so many individual parts just don't look comfortable, just don't look like they know what they're doing, and are really not making the impact that they should. So that's why it's that's where I feel like you have to ask questions of the manager. Yeah. And also I will say on a positive note, it was nice to see the John Lewis tribute. So
yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely appreciated that. That's more important than anything else. So rest in power to a great individual who contributed so much to our country, who was based in Atlanta for so many years. So it's nice to see the team, I think show that awareness, and I think that tribute was appropriate.
Right, because definitely well said. Yeah, life is definitely much more important than, at the end of the day, a soccer game. So it is, and equality as well. But anyway, thank you very much, Mark, and we will chat with you later.